Ever since I began my journey throughout Teyvat a few months ago, guilt has been haunting my conscience. For the sake of farming materials to enhance my characters, I became a genocide of whole families of little monsters that were just sitting peacefully in the wild without bothering anyone. Netlan, was it really necessary to make them so cute? However, it seems that life and death is not so simple in this magical land, as we would soon come to learn while the plot unfolds, with the secret behind the Hilichurls. It's revealed during the quest that this outlandish race, the most prominent of Teyvat, were once humans, people of the fallen kingdom of Khaenri'ah, the land that defied Celestia, and in response to their threat, they could be destroyed. But besides being expelled from their home, its people were cursed to immortality. Or that would be the sentence of the pure-blood Khaenri'ahs, because those without it would be instead transformed into Hilichurls. This fact caught my attention from the very beginning, because I'm sure anyone would say that being turned into a monster is some kind of additional punishment, a further aggravation of the curse of immortality. However, the game states that they were turned into Hilichurls and other types of monsters because they weren't considered greater sinners as the pure-blooded Khaenri'ahs, implying that it's actually some kind of relief or alleviation. This vision of immortality as a curse that Hoyoverse portrays in the game was very reminiscent of one of my favorite authors, Borges. He delves into the idea of how, by living forever, immortal beings would inevitably repeat all possible actions and thoughts. Without the factor of time and death, each experience could progressively erode and render itself redundant, transforming life into a cyclical and great process of reiteration, where nothing has an essential meaning, since any achievement, mistake, or feeling will be repeated an infinite number of times. By diluting the reason for existence, life becomes an eternal shadow without direction or purpose. As a result of that, the Immortals, also known as troglodytes, are described as almost inhuman figures, physically decrepit and primal. They are extremely skinny, filthy, and covered with dust, showing dull eyes and hunched bodies, reflecting their indifference to both time and their own bodies. They had lost all interest in trying to communicate, learn, or experience, living in a state of absolute apathy, without any passion or goal, like shadows of humanity that wander aimlessly and without will, indifferent to everything because they have already lived and experienced it all. It would be not the first time we find the story of Genshin Impact dealing with issues related to that topic, like the Sumeru time loop and the strain that it caused on the souls of those involved, or the tragedy of Farina regarding this vision of immortality as a condemnation. What if MiHoYo was trying to convey something similar with this story, and the gods didn't just turn non-pure-blooded Khaenri'ahs into monsters, but rather gave them the gift of Oblivion? That's why this transformation is considered an act of mercy, since they could erase the happy memories of their kingdom and loved ones in order to make this immortality easier to bear, as it could not be plagued by loss, nostalgia, and thirst for vengeance. However, this disconnection from their past would come at a price. Faced with this existence, without a past to remember, and without a future endpoint to give meaning to their actions, the sentenced would gradually become lethargic, plain, and futile beings. They would start to be carried away by animal instinct and progressively abandon any hint of humanity in them, with their bodies transforming in consequence as time went by. But it seems that, even so, there are still remains of who they once were in the core of their souls, as they show a special affinity for dwelling in the ruins of fallen civilizations, whose origins make them feel at home. Things could end up getting even more convoluted, because in the quest along Dainsleif, we suddenly encountered a group of dying Hilichurls, very close to their end. There he explains that the curse of immortality denies death to those afflicted with it, and yet it does not truly mean that they will never die. The body and soul will continue to be eroded until they are virtually non-existent, even if death is not the form that this erosion takes and the process is considerably slower. Dane also explains why the Hilichurls can make off their masks, as they could be horrified to see what their faces have become, but that doesn't make all that much sense considering that, well, their whole bodies have been grotesquely altered, so if they can't see how they look, they should be able to notice that they are monsters. If you think about it, maybe like so many other characters over the course of this story, Dainsleif is not telling us the whole truth, and that mask is actually a symbol of the god's mercy, or way of condescending these hybrids, a symbol of the right to oblivion that was granted to them, because by wearing the masks, their congeners could not recall those memories while looking into each other's eyes. On the other hand, the pure-blood Khaenri'ahs, considered the greater sinners and the ultimate culprits of the cataclysm, would be cursed to immortality, preserving intact the memories of their previous lives and of the tragedy of their homeland, to suffer forever from the wounds of their souls that would not let them forget who they are, and in some cases, even fueling a wish for redemption that could make them keep on fighting. This whole view would also fit with the most special Hilichurl we know, Khaenri'ah, and without going into too many details of his story, we know that his father forces him to regain his consciousness, and as a result, he's overwhelmed by memories, enduring so much pain that in the end his body is unable to resist. Another detail that doesn't quite fit the official story is their in-game description, which says that their presence on the continent has been recorded for over 1,000 years, but the fall of Khaenri'ah was only 500 years ago. It would seem likely that Khaenri'ah was not the first nation to be punished for its ambition at the hands of the heavenly principles, and that earlier civilizations suffered the same fate. Could it be that the different types of Hilichurls with distinct elemental affinities come from some of those other fallen civilizations? Maybe it wasn't such a black and white scenario, and maybe there were more variations on the heavenly principles curse of immortality, explaining also why there are different types of monsters as a result of this tragedy, including some that retain a higher level of consciousness. But that was my first theory about this universe, and by no means I want you to take it as something official or set in stone. This has only been a simple attempt on my part to offer you something interesting and new about the world that I'm just getting to know better. For that reason, I'm sorry if there were any mistakes in the video. I've only been playing Genshin Impact for a few months and I'm still learning its lore. So if you want to join me on this new journey, you can subscribe and follow me on social media so we can explore together the amazing world of this game and all its mysteries. Or if you already are a Teyvat scholar, you can leave a comment with your theories or observations about what I said. Be nice!